launch of the MoneyMaker starter pump under Kickstart. And I'm sure many of you were viewing the video that was running as we came and as we waited up to this moment and saw how it has changed lives. Yes, these stories, many of them may not be from Zambia, but the result, the benefits are exactly the same. Once it comes here, well, it's already here in this country, and we will hear from some of the farmers who have been using it and who will testify to its efficiency and how it just changes the narrative of your enterprise. And so I think the first thing that we should do together is to give a big round of applause to Kickstart for the MoneyMaker starter pump. Let's give them a big, big, big hand.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Honorable Guest of Honor, Director of Agriculture, all government officials, all NGOs, our partners, our distributors here present today, farmers whom we've invited, mining companies who are present for this event. I greet you all this morning and I thank you for coming to attend this wonderful function. As the Master of Ceremony said, we are here to officially launch the starter pump, which is meant to empower millions of farmers in sub-Saharan Africa. And as they say, the proof of pudding is in the eating. Among us, we have our CEO from Kenya, who will speak more about Kickstart International. Then we also have partners who have used some of our products. They also speak about their experiences. Then we have farmers who are using the technology present today with us. They will also give testimonies of how they benefited from the use of the pumps. Then I know we all have maybe the same vision, mission, to work with smallholder farmers, to support them, address issues of climate change. That's why we are here. We are pursuing and fighting the same cause. And let me welcome you all for this wonderful event. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dogba, who is the Regional Partnerships Manager for Southern Africa Hub of Kickstart International. Indeed, the proof of the pudding is in what? Is in the eating. Well, we'll get to eat that particular pudding in just a little while. We met some of them when we were introducing ourselves a little earlier at the beginning of our program, but we didn't meet all of them. And this is the Kickstart team, the Kickstart International team. And so to introduce this team that has come, some from Kenya, others from other parts of this continent, let me invite Nancy Mwindi, who is the Marketing and Program Coordinator for Kickstart International, to introduce the guests to us. Nancy, let's give her a hand as well, shall we?
Okay, thank you so much today, MC. And I think as the previous speakers have said, we are really honored to see you here this morning. It's such a great milestone for Kickstart to just see the event happening today. And I'm sure it's a win to the smallholder farmers in Africa. It's a win to the agriculture sector in general. And so we are delighted that you could just come and be with us and grace this occasion today. And so I'm here for a short assignment. It won't take long. We'd like to introduce some key Kickstart staff that are here with us today. Perhaps you want some consultation, perhaps you would want to ask a question or reach out to someone. So it is good we know them and probably the role that they play at Kickstart so that you know the person or the court, during our networking session, probably during the lunch break. So I'll invite them in front so that we can know them. We can make it quick for the back. Okay, so I will give them the mic. They say their names and the role they play at Kickstart.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Tom Papa. I work for Kickstart as Director for Partnerships across Africa. It's my pleasure to have you all here and looking forward to a very interactive engagement with you. up to the end of this event. Thank you very much.
My name is Washington Dosa. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm the head of Sales and Partnerships, Southern Africa. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Angela Omundi. I'm in charge of HR. We are honored to have you here today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Susan Sigali. I'm the finance manager in Zambia. You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Memory Mutambo. I am Partnership Officer for Zambia Kickstart International. Thank you.
This is the number that is representing the rest here today, and hope you get time to interact, know them more. If you have more questions about us, you can reach out to them. They are tagged, so you won't be able to miss them. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Let's give Nancy and the team another big round of applause. Good to see that the gender representation is in line with the SADC protocols. You know, we are very, very proud of the team that you have. All right then, so now it is time for us to get into the details of what we are here for today. Let me invite the President and Chief Operating Officer of Kickstart International, as Mr. Peter Juma, to come forward and give his presentation.
So Kickstart is a non-profit social enterprise which was founded back in the 90s in Kenya with a very simple mission, and that is to lift millions of people out of poverty, and that is sub-Saharan Africa. And we want them to make a lot of money and climb out of poverty forever. But before I share more about Kickstart, let me just share about a story about this farmer called James from Kenya. James used to work in a coffee factory in Kenya, just outside Nairobi, in a big coffee plantation. He was earning an equivalent of $40 in a month, and he was living in the servant quarters provided by his employer on the coffee farm. His family was living in the rural area. James talked to his employer to allow him to do some kitchen gardening at the back of his quarters. Started growing some vegetables just for his own consumption because it was quite expensive for him to be buying vegetables from the market. And then with the time, neighbors started coming to him to buy the vegetables because it was cheaper buying from James than going to the market. And James identified a business opportunity. So what he did, he quit his job from the coffee factory. He rented a quarter acre of land and started doing bucket irrigation, which is a very tedious job. It's quite back-breaking. In 2018, when we started developing this pump that we are launching today, James was among the few farmers we selected to test the prototypes. He started using this pump, and after doing his first harvest, he was able to make enough money to expand his land and rented 2 acres piece of land. To cut the story short, James is now a very wealthy guy. I've visited him so many times. Every time I go to James' place, I'm inspired. And I'm challenged. And in fact, the MC made a point that at the end of the day, some of us might be thinking of resigning up, being at that moment visiting this man. The last time I visited James, that was late last year, I found him, he had just harvested cabbages from a half-acre piece of land. He had sold these cabbages at 270,000 Kenya shillings, which is the equivalent of $2,100 US. Now, many people who work in the civil service don't earn such an amount of money within 3 months. James has built a permanent house for his family. His wife is running a shop back in the village. He's taken all his kids in top private schools in Kenya, And he has bought a solar pump, which is very expensive, that he uses during the sunny days. And so that day I asked James, so what is your plan for the future? Because you really made a lot of transformation in your life. And James told me, Peter, I've been saving money to buy a plot of land in Nairobi. Now for those that have been to Nairobi, it's a very big city with scarce land. So land is very expensive. And I asked him, how much have you saved? And he told me he has saved close to $40,000 US, which he's planning to buy a plot of land to build rental houses in Nairobi. These are really stories. Anyone that comes to Nairobi, you want to go and confirm this, we can take you and see this fine man. It's a story that really inspires me. And that's why I thought I should just share it. There are so many, even here in Zambia, there are similar stories, but James' story is quite inspiring. So let us talk about fighting hunger and poverty in sub-Saharan Africa. We know that Africa today holds a population of 1.1 billion. 49%, close to 50% of the people in Africa go to bed, they live below the poverty line. And Africa imports about 40 billion worth of food each year. And while the rest of the world, the population is growing very slowly. In fact, it is going down. African population today is the fastest in the globe in terms of growth. It's expected to hit 2.2 billion by 2050. And by 2100, African population will be 4 billion people. Yet today, Africa cannot feed itself. So these are very stark numbers. We need to be challenged. These are real problems that need to be addressed. And now, Africa is bearing the brunt of climate change. And that's why we need to talk more about irrigation. That's why we need to talk more about our farmers changing the way they are doing their farming. But fighting poverty in Africa could be one of the most challenging jobs one can do. 80% of our people are the poorest who live in the rural areas. They eke out a living working on their small pieces of land, using very rudimentary methods and tools for farming. They make very little money from their farms, and so these people are stuck in a cycle of poverty because they make very low yields, very low incomes, and they cannot afford expensive farm inputs. So our people are trapped in a cycle of poverty. So we are saying the best way our millions of people in sub-Saharan Africa to make more money and escape poverty is for them to transition from rain-fed farming to irrigated farming. Because we know that with rain-fed farming, our farmers make very low value crops. They can only afford 1 to 2 harvests in a year. They go to the markets that are flooded because you are planting at the same time, you harvest at the same time, you go to the market at the same time. So the demand is very low, the supply is very high, and a lot of the farm produce that is made during the rain-fed harvest, over 40% of that spoils before it is eaten or even sold. And if our farmers who are depending on rainfall for their farming, if the rains fail, they lose their crop. And the worst, if there are natural disasters like floods, they lose everything. But we are saying that with irrigation, these farmers can grow very high value crops. These are the fruits and the vegetables. They can do multiple harvests in a year. Because with rainfall, you are only depending on rain, and rain can come once in a year, or at most twice. But with irrigation, you are basically managing the climate yourself. So you can do multiple harvests in a year. And you sell during the off-season, during the dry, hungry season when the prices are very high. So you make a lot of money compared to rain-fed harvest. And people just come at your farm gate. Like the story of James I gave, the middleman had actually gone to his farm to collect the cabbages. And you can save your crops if the rains fail with irrigation. So we are saying we want our farmers to transition from failing subsistence farms to profitable family farms via irrigation. So let us break it down further a bit. Why farmers who do irrigation can make a lot of money. We say they grow and sell high-value fruits and vegetables. And they do this off seasons between the rain harvest. So that time, that's when the prices are very high because there are very few people with vegetables in the market. So you make a lot of money. Food is very scarce, the prices are very high. And you can plant, harvest, and sell multiple crop cycles in a year. So long as you have a source of water and you have an irrigation equipment, then you are ready to go. You don't have to wait for the next rain season. And you can have easy access to the market. People are just coming right at your farm. You know, people, as long as people know there is food somewhere, they will come. And you make a lot of money at the end of the dry season, and you are now able to buy more farm input. So the people who are selling fertilizers, people who are selling seeds, people who are selling chemicals, irrigation is an advantage. And they are now coming with the more big storms and floods. We have seen this in Southern Africa. It's now a natural phenomenon that is happening almost every year. And now we are facing longer and hotter dry periods where the rains are failing completely. In some parts in Kenya, you guys might be a bit lucky. In Kenya, we have the arid and semi-arid lands. Some of those places have never seen rain for the last 8 months also. But with irrigation, these farmers can plant and harvest crops year-round independent of the rains. They can save their rain-fed crops when the rains fail. And they can plant all the crops quickly after the natural disasters like the floods. So that is the beauty of irrigation. And we know that irrigation is very key even globally in terms of food and income security. 20% of the farmland globally is under irrigation, producing 40% of the food that is consumed. While the rest of the world has made very good strides in terms of adapting to irrigation, the situation in Africa is different and is very sad. In India, over 52% of farmland is under irrigation. In Asia, we are talking about 40%. And 70% of this is driven by smallholder farmers that we are talking about. In Africa, the situation is very scary. Only 4% of farmland in Africa is under irrigation. No wonder we are having this problem. We are having the problem of malnutrition, problem of food insecurity. These are things we've never heard about Asia. Never heard people dying of hunger in China or in India. But the figures are there to tell the story. And in fact, this 4% is concentrated in Southern Africa. That is South Africa and Madagascar, which is not even on that map, and South Sudan, in the Sudan. So we are saying that even in some countries, like even here in Zambia, my country, Kenya, we are talking about less than 2% of farmland is under irrigation. So it's a very sad situation that needs to change. Yet the conditions that favors to increase our farmland under irrigation, the conditions are there. And that's why we are now in these annual hungry seasons and food insecurity as a continent. Because there's very little irrigation that is happening in sub-Saharan Africa. But there are plenty of water. Because that's the other questions we are normally asked. Okay, yes, the pump, but where do I get the water? Where can I get the water? We've known historically, if you remember your lessons in history, that human beings tend to settle where there is water. Historically, if you go back to your books and read, that's what you get. People normally tend to settle where there are water bodies, either streams, or rivers, or lakes, and so stuff like that. That's why you go to the desert, there are not many people there. So they are scattered all over the continent, sources of water. This could be rivers, springs, streams, lakes, shallow aquifers, hand-dug wells, water pans. The sources of water, if you go out there in the villages, you'll find most of our homes, there's some water somewhere that is nearby that's either used by cattle or it's just meant for domestic use. This water that can be lifted and be put into farms for irrigation. Africa uses less than 10% of its renewable groundwater and less than 5% of its surface water. So the potential for irrigation, the potential for changing the situation of food insecurity in Africa, the potential is there because of these factors. So we are saying that, and we know that 20% of farmers in sub-Saharan Africa have access to surface or shallow water on their farm. These are facts. These are studies that have been done. Like I said, normally people tend to settle where there are water bodies. So about 20%. We're not saying everybody, but at least 20% have access to water. If we can just move from the current 4% to this 20%, we can change the situation on our continent. So the water sources are there and plenty. But the problem why irrigation is still very low, why we are only talking about 4%, is because we have no history of irrigation in Africa. And why is that the case? Because we've had the most favorable climate as a continent. The rains were predicted. Our parents knew when to plant, when to till the land, when to plant, when to harvest. The situation was so predictable. There were no issues of climate change. So it didn't make any sense for people to irrigate. Why should I irrigate when it's going to rain next month? The other problem why irrigation is still very low in Africa is because our rural areas don't have the right infrastructure. They are not connected to the national grid, and even fuel, petrol and diesel, is not readily available, or if it's available, it's very expensive, or it's very far from a farmer. And there is limited knowledge and no affordable technologies that our rural folks can use for their irrigation activity. So, as an organization, having looked at all these challenges, we thought of a solution. How can we address this problem? What can we provide? What we do is we design and promote very low-cost human-powered pumps. Human-powered pumps because of the challenges that I've just mentioned. No electricity, no fuel, and so any mechanically powered pump would still be a challenge. Giving a farmer a petrol pump deep in the village, in Mungwa, will still be a problem for them. If the pump breaks down, they can't easily get a technician to fix it. Fuel is very expensive and is not readily available. So we design and promote human-powered pumps which are branded MoneyMaker pumps. The farmer has to recover the full cost of the pump in one season. And we have impact monitoring studies that prove this. We want the farmer to recoup their whole investment in one season. No farmer will want to invest in an equipment that will take them a full year or even 8 months to recover the investment. They will not want to do that. As you are going to see during the demonstration, they don't have bolts, they don't have nuts, so you don't need a screwdriver, you don't need a spanner, you don't need a hammer to fix a MoneyMaker pump. And the pump can pump any type of water. So salt water, sandy water, muddy water. MoneyMaker pumps can operate in any of this water. There are some pumps that can only work in clean water, not even salt water. And it has to be gender friendly. Because we know majority of our rural homes are run by women. So we want to design a pump that is friendly to our women. And it has to be easy to install, use, and maintain. So the farmer does not require to invest in any tool. Because they don't even have those tools. In the rural areas, farmers don't have spanners. They don't have screwdrivers. They don't have hammers. So giving them a tool that requires them to invest in these other items is just overburdening them. So a MoneyMaker pump, the farmer can dismantle it and fix it with their own hands. again, as you are going to see out there after this. And they are very efficient, using pressure hose pump. They are portable, so the farmer can carry, very light. So the farmer can carry them, do the irrigation on their farm and come and keep it back at home to ensure safety. And they are manually operated, as I said, so you don't require any fuel, and very high energy efficiency. So you pump a lot of water with very little energy. So since 2000, that's the first pump we decided to call the MoneyMaker Max. This is our flagship product. We've sold about 370,000 of these pumps since 2000. This pump sucks water from 7 meters, that's about 21 feet. So if you have a 100 well, so long as the water table comes up to about 7 meters from the surface, the pump can lift water. It can pump to another height of 10 meters from the surface. So if the pump is here, you want to pump to an overhead tank up to 7 meters, that pump can pump the water. It uses, can irrigate up to 2 acres of land. On average, it's about $200. This is an average price depending on the country. There are some countries that have subsidies, so the pump will be cheaper. Some countries, they exempt this pump from duties, VAT, so it will be cheaper than that. But this is just an average, including on the cost. And then after that, we designed a pump that is called the heat pump. Operated with a rocking motion. It looks like a bicycle pump, that pump you are seeing there. But you see, with a bicycle pump, when you pump it, you are pumping like this. And so you get tired very quickly when you pump like this. But this pump has a rocker at the bottom. So you pump it with a rocking motion. So it's your whole body that is pumping. So you don't get tired. It's different from pumping like this as you do with a bicycle pump. That pump can also pump from a depth of 7 meters and push water to a height of 7 meters. And on a flat ground, it can push water up to 150 meters. The previous pump I showed, on a flat ground, it can push water up to 200 meters. So assuming your source of water is here and your farm is 200 meters from where your source of water is, the pump can push water to where the farm is. And this pump retails at an average of about $115. Depending on other factors, the price will be lower than that. In each country where we operate, we sign up distributors. So these are commercial businesses that are already in the business of selling other farm products. They believe in farmers. The farmers trust them. And so those are the ones we identify. We have a criteria of identifying a distributor, and they now become distributors of MoneyMaker products. And we have been able to lift 1.4 million people out of poverty. And each year, 14 million people are fed on fruits and vegetables from the use of MoneyMaker farms. So to do this, we take a three-pronged strategy. Number one, we innovate new technologies and methods required for medium smallholder farmers will get. So providing the tools, the education, and the training. And then we widely promote and distribute new innovations through partnerships and private sector supply chains. Some of them are going to speak here today. And then finally, we help partners to meet their goals by helping them to introduce small-scale irrigation in their programs. And by doing this, to massively collaborate to partner to irrigate Africa. So today, we are very happy and very delighted and excited that you spared your time, you put aside your work to come and join us today on this very important occasion in the history of Kickstart as we launch this new pump. It's called the MoneyMaker Starter Pump. We call it the Starter Pump because it's the first step a farmer can make to climb out of poverty. With this pump, they can make money, and then they can upgrade. They can upgrade the treadle pump, make enough money, upgrade to a solar pump, and even a more complicated petrol pump or even an electric pump. And this pump today is the lowest cost irrigation pump in Africa. It can pull water from a depth of 6 meters. It can push water to a height of 7 meters. It can, on a flat ground, it can push up to 150 meters. And with this pump, you can irrigate about 3 acres of land. We've seen in places where it's being used, like in Kenya, farmers even irrigate in 1 acre of land with this pump. It's very easy to use and operate, and weighs just about 3 kilograms. So it's very light, like a bag, a small packet of rice. And it comes with a surge chamber. This is a new technology that we introduced on the pump that was not on the heat pump that I showed. And that surge chamber is to ensure there's continuous flow of water because this pump can power up to 3 sprinklers connected to it. So that surge chamber is to ensure that continuous flow of water so that the sprinklers don't stop when you are pumping. And it retails between $85 to $100. Again, this is a full price, including all the margins by the distributor, the retailers, and the Kickstart margins is all in here. As I said, depending on the country, the price can be lower than that. So I want you to join us today to launch this starter pump and to irrigate Africa. And I want to thank you, all of you, so much for your time again, for being here with us, for gracing this important occasion. And we'll be hearing more from some of the few partners that are here and our distributors, and then, of course, finally, our guest of honor. Thank you so much. Asante sana. Obrigado.
Asante sana, Bwana Mkubwa. Thank you so very much, Mr. Peter Juma, for those details about the MoneyMaker starter pump and the Kickstart. Kickstart's slogan, by the way, and you heard it for yourselves in the story that he started with about James, is it? James. So Kickstart's slogan is from poverty to prosperity in one season. If they did it in Kenya, we can also do it here in Zambia. I think we will have to also show that we have what it takes to live up to the slogan. Well, we have distributors among us, and you heard Mr. Juma say that we have 3 that are working with Kickstart. We will invite them to come one by one to give us very brief testimonies of what it has been like working with Kickstart, especially in distributing their products. So we will start with Saro Agro. Saro Agro will be followed by Grow More, and then last but not least, we will have Farmers Farm also coming to give their presentations on this occasion. So Saro Agro are coming up, named by the representative. I know Saro chose to be the back bench today, but we're giving you the front seat in the presentations. So let's give a big round of applause to Saro as they come.
We at Saro are very grateful to be part of the Kickstart Starter Pump launch. At Saro, we have been partners with Kickstart for about 10 years now. During this period, we have sold over 1,000 of the MoneyMaker treadle pumps and others as well. These pumps are distributed mainly to emerging and small-scale farmers. Our discovery at Saro is that the pump is one which has been experienced by small-scale farmers to be very economical and maintenance-free. We have had more sales mainly with the MoneyMaker treadle pump because most farmers have selected it. At Saro, we've been backed to promote irrigation using the treadle pump. We came up with a combination of the treadle pump combined with a drip irrigation system to promote agricultural mechanization, whereas get rid of farmers carrying buckets and containers to irrigate. We have combined the treadle pump to pump water into a small drum, like a 210-liter drum, then through that the farmer can irrigate using drip irrigation. Why we've promoted this is because we've discovered that our food basket is mainly the farmers out there. They're the ones that will provide to the markets where we will walk in and buy the produce. And then most of these farmers have been having challenges to have proper irrigation practices for their crops. They end up not having good yields because they get tired of lifting buckets. But with the shallow waters that we have in and around Zambia, the farmers are able to have hand-dug wells of about 6 to 7 meters, and then open waters as well. That's the rivers, the streams, and the dams nearby, and then the farmers are able to pool water using the MoneyMaker treadle pumps, the heat pumps, and pump that water into the small liter, like a 200-liter 10 drum, and then do drip irrigation. Enhancing them to one, going to tomato farming, because tomato farming is quite a tricky part in farming. It does not want water on their leaves. So through drip irrigation and the treadle pump, a farmer can achieve and maximize his profits. We are promoting the MoneyMaker treadle pumps in Zambia through our live demos, our shows that we exhibit at, as a gender-free pump, because we've experienced that from the mothers, the youths, the kids, and the men are able to operate with this pump. It has no problems, such that as farmers are using them, the maintenance cost is like zero on them. And ASARO will remain to be dedicated to reach out to all farmers by educating and promoting the pumps to them. We are very glad to be working with Kickstart, and we'll still maintain working with Kickstart as we promote this. We embark on a mission that we should still promote the new starter pump, which Kickstart is launching today, and we'll be glad to work with you. As SARO, we don't only stop there. We distribute a number of agricultural products, starting from hammer mills, tractors, mean tractors to say, because when we talk about emerging farmers, we talk about beginning small. So mean tractors, which they are able to attach various equipment, just like the ordinary tractors. So in that way, we are promoting the small-scale farmer and the emerging farmer. We also have distributed some mean drip kits, which would be very, very ideal that we call to our partners that they can work with us to distribute these drip kits. These drip kits are mean, very mean drip kits of about 30 square meters. And we have worked with partners like the Norwegian Church, Aid, Adra Zambia, Charles, and NOCAT, who have been promoting these drip kits to the farmers out there. And it would be a very good idea that the starter pump be attached to these pumps. With these few remarks, I am here.
Thank you, Madam Sarah. A few remarks indeed. We're within the 5-minute allocation. So that was Sarah Agro, the first of the distributors. We'll call on the second one, Grow More, to also come and share their testimony. 5 minutes as well. Let's give the Grow More representative a big round of applause as he comes.
I'm always afraid to speak after Mr. Juma because it takes time. So you should have 5 minutes, sir. So, and Mr. Patti, be afraid of Mr. Joe. I think you take up your job. I'm afraid so. My name is Ankua Demiso from Gromo Technologies. I'm the sales and marketing manager there. And we're glad to be invited at this event. So, I just run with you first the protocols. Thank you, the guest of honor, representative from the Ministry of Agriculture, for coming through. The President and Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Peter Juma, we're familiar with you, sir. Thank you for coming through. Senior government officials present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We're honored to be invited to be part of the product launch for the MoneyMaker Startup Pump, which is being launched today, which is the 22nd February 2023. So we also would like to give you a brief background of our company. So just a brief background to our company. Global Technologies Limited was founded on the Copper Belt in 2016 and then moved our head office to Lusaka here in 2018. So Global Technologies Limited, we are the sole distributors of the brand of the tractor called Farm Truck, blue in color. Not only are we distributing those tractors, but we are also distributing so many products which will include implements like plows, harrows, and so forth. We're also into the supply of processing equipment, which will include hammer mills, oil mills, etc., etc. So we're also excited to be a part of this launch because we're also in the department of distribution of the irrigation system, which will include the center pivots, the drip irrigation system, also the MoneyMaker pumps. We have also branches dotted around the country in places like Mkushi, the central province of Zambia, Mumbwa. We also have distributors which I've seen around in here on the eastern province, southern province, and all over Zambia. We're also working with so many NGOs in the country as well in the distribution of these products. So just a brief history on our relation with the Kickstart. Our relation with Kickstart International started in 2016 since the launch of this company, where Gromo Technologies opened on the Copper Belt and have distributed thousands of MoneyMaker pumps and heat pumps to various farmers and non-governmental organizations, of which I think I've seen most of our partners here, which will work with, in that regard. We're also glad to mention that not only Kickstart International is our supplier of MoneyMaker pumps and heat pumps, they are also our implementing partners. We recently were engaged in a project with Enterprise Zambia in relation with Self-Help Zambia. I've seen, I think they're here, the European Union. So they are our implementing partners in regarding the distribution of the pumps, educating farmers on the importance of irrigation, and so many other things related to irrigation. So I'm glad Mr. Jum also mentioned the fact that 4%, I think we're not doing so well in terms of irrigation. I think 4% is a very, very, very bad number. So with the launch of this pump, I think it's a plus, Kickstart International, and I would say it's congratulations to you. And I'm very sure it will be a very much success going forward with this project which we have. So with the collaboration with which is the ribbon funded projects in collaboration with Self-Help Africa and non-governmental organization partners supporting, and this project actually will run for 2 years up to 2024. So we're very much excited to run with it, to promote it, to educate the farmers around the country, not only the country but also even the outside, because I think this is a brilliant idea and a brilliant project that we want to work with. So the role of Kickstart in this project is also, as I said, to spearhead the project that we have. With the launch of the MoneyMaker Startup Pump, it is a timely gesture by Kickstart International, taking into consideration we're preaching climate and smart agriculture, as you said. I think Mr. Jomo had explained more on that. We need to promote smart agriculture and increase on the irrigation aspect that we want to see, not only in Zambia but in Africa as a journal. In conclusion, I'll say, as Goma Technologies, we're glad to be part of this launch with the project in mind in promoting mechanization in farmers in Zambia through the various schemes, this which we're witnessing today. Bearing in mind that it will be a game changer, not only to the small or medium scale farmers, but the country at large. But with a different airport also, we're putting in consideration the different airport investments into mind and the climate at large. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Ernest Banda from Farmers Bank. The guest of honor, Honorable Minister, I'm humbled to stand before you. The President of Kickstart, Mr. Peter Juma, senior government officials, and may I simply say all the protocols observed. Thank you very much. Like I said earlier on in my preamble, I'm from Farmers Bank. I'm glad to say that we are official distributor and partner of Kickstart. We do distribute and sell the treadle pumps, MoneyMaker treadle pumps, and hip pumps, which have made the name of Farmers Bank to be known all over the country. Our offices are within Lusaka here, along Chiparamba Road, Town Center, and another one is along Mumba Road, just next to Capital Hotel. We've got a wide range of products that we are dealing in, such as herbicides, pesticides, a wide range of vegetable seeds, which I would love to take this opportunity to ask the farmers to take advantage of this wide range of vegetable seeds and legumes, maize, so to speak, protective clothing, fertilizers, knapsack sprayers, hoes, should I simply say garden tools. Among other products that we sell. Otherwise, the list is quite long. I'm hereby to say that as Farmers Bank, we are happy to be part and parcel of this event that we can sell ourselves. The treadle pumps and the hip pumps, including the newly launched pump, which will start stocking. On the treadle pump part, you know, farmers have really given us a very good testimony. As other partners have said, it is user-friendly. Anyone can use it. It is easy. There is no serious problem that we faced with this pump. And we wish to continue trading in this kind of pumps because there are no any other serious problems. Small problems such as farmers who are coming to say it has failed to pump. When we go out to the field, only to find that they were trying to pump the waters that are slightly deeper than 7 meters. It's a small problem. Otherwise, there is no serious problem. So these pumps are very good pumps. No fuel needed, no electricity needed. Actually, it helps most of people, including women and young people. They are saying they are happy to use this pump because it even helps them to keep fit. It's a very good pump. I wish to commend Kickstart for this initiative. With these few words, may I simply say thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Kickstart for the technology. My name is Ajim Chula. I represent HEFA in Southern Africa. I'm based in Lusaka here. So I'm very excited to see HEFA here because I last met HEFA Kickstart in the US. Guest of honor, the Kickstart team, and the great presenter Juma this morning. I appreciate and we really value our partnership with Kickstart. We have an overarching MOU with our headquarters in Arkansas, US, with Kickstart head office. So far, in the target group of people that we have in Zambia, in the next 8 years, we are targeting 200,000 people to reach in Zambia. We do have a very strong partnership with Kickstart in advancing technology. We define technology as an accelerator for production in agriculture. So Kickstart is our partner in distributing irrigation equipment like trigger pumps. We have also added on and requested for Kickstart to also consider even going further with the solar pumps. In the last 2 months, we have distributed about 1,000 trigger pumps in Eastern Province, in Vuwi district that all of you know is a very remote part of this country. So we have not forgotten about Vuwi. Vuwi is at our epicenter of our heart, and we are in Eastern Province in Vuwi working on improving agricultural development through irrigation as well. As you may have the history of HEFA, HEFA is about 78 years old, and it has been doing a lot of work in Zambia for the last 28 years. Currently, our new strategy, which goes up to 2030, values youth and women. And in our partnership with Kickstart, we are actually advancing technology accessible by youth and women. To us, long live Kickstart, long live HEFA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Almost sounded like a political slogan. Long live. You're supposed to respond, long live also.
Allow me to write on the protocols that the Director of Programs has given. As you might be aware, World Vision is a Christian-based organization. We have been operating here in Zambia for over 41 years now, and we are currently existing over 81 districts in the 10 provinces. Our vision as World Vision is to make sure that we ensure that our children live life in its fullness. And how do we attain this? We have so many programs ranging from water and sanitation, education, health, child protection, as well as livelihood. And under livelihood, we have a goal to make sure that we improve the livelihood and resilience for over 100,000 farmers by the year 2025. And we have about 4 pillars of outcomes. One of them is to increase household incomes by enhancing the local action development in our program. And also the other one looks at how do we protect the environment by improving the natural resources that we have around that area. The other one also looks at the environment where we are, and how do we reduce or minimize the risks associated to production. The last one, we understand that we can talk about technology, but as long as our farmers have not changed the mindset, it becomes a challenge. And so we have to make sure that we change the mindset of the farmers. And then, and outcome 2, where we look at improving the management and natural resources. We have investments towards strategic infrastructures. These are dams, canals, and weirs, and across the country. But then, due to climate change, you might understand that most likely, especially in Eastern Province, we have seen these dams having challenges of the dams drying up. And so that is because of inefficient use of water. So through the partnerships that we currently have with Kickstart, which we started way back around 2014, I think we've been working with Kickstart from that time. We have piloted or promoted these pumps with Kickstart to make sure that farmers, once they access them, they can use water efficiently, and then they should be able to produce all year round in order to make sure that those incomes that we are talking about have increased. And just to make sure that we are inclusive and increase this production and productivity, we work with Vision Fund to just make sure that even those farmers that are financially excluded, being given such an opportunity to access these products on a loan that is very affordable, and they should be able to save and pay back with a minimum interest to Vision Fund. And also, we are glad that today the pump that is being launched by Kickstart is something that is of low cost, and this shows that most of our farmers that are using these irrigation systems that we are promoting will have access to these tanks. And we are glad that we also have government in place that is having a lot of support to these farmers, and we expect more farmers to access these products. And also, I would like to just remind Kickstart that this collaboration be extended to even non-current rich areas. I think our concentration was much more of Eastern, Muchinga, and Northern, but now we want to extend this collaboration actually to these new areas where we are operating. With these little points, I would like to end here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Francis. Chris Mzembe, who is the Deputy Country Director of Care International, is the next one to come up.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So I've been introduced. I represent CARE International in Zambia. CARE has worked here since 1992. We first came at the invitation of the government during the drought time to respond to the emergency, and since then our programs have evolved. As an organization, we exist to save lives, defeat poverty, and achieve social justice. And in Zambia here, we just adopted our new strategic plan from July 2022. And the strategic plan has really tried to reflect on who is on the ground, who is doing what, where, and where can care add value. So we realize and recognize that there are so many other stakeholders that complement each other to achieve what the national aspirations are. So for that reason, we intentionally and deliberately aligned our strategic plan to the SDGs, the Agenda 2030, as well as the 8th National Development Plan. And maybe relevant to this forum is the fact that one of our programs is on climate and agriculture. Why climate and agriculture? We know that a lot of our survival and our economy is hinged on agriculture. And in the rural areas, we know that the smallholders produce most of the food that we consume and sell. The effort is actually very significant. And as CARE, we are taking a step further to focus more on women and girls, because we also know that at least 80% of the rural women are the engine of production. So our biggest concerns are about how this energy is utilized. Most of it is to produce food to eat, just to make the family go by. We would like to see a situation where women are also participating economically. And an intervention like the MoneyMaker pump is part of the solution that we see in terms of the struggles that we see women facing. But it may be also good to look at the other side of why we must be concerned. The 8th National Development Plan for Zambia is very clear in Strategic Development Area 3, Outcomes 1 and 2, concerns about environment, sustainability, concerns about adaptability. A lot of people actually are very excited about irrigation. At CARE, we are excited with a bit of caution because it involves land and water. And we know that in some places, some individuals tend to like dam up the stream and deprive others downstream in the name of irrigation. We also know that groundwater can actually be overexploited. And we also know that a lot of the impact on the environment right now is caused because of livelihoods. People are trying to expand farming so that they can get by or find income. And in the process, if you see a 20-year map, spatial map, comparing Zambia 20 years ago and now, you see that the ground cover is actually depleting very fast. Places that used to be reserves are now being used for agriculture activities. So agriculture is the mainstay of the economy, yes. It's a livelihood, yes. But how do we keep livelihoods and climate and environmental concerns side by side? So at CARE, we are trying to really look at production, the volumes, but also productivity. How can farmers produce more with less? And this is why this MoneyMaker pump excites us. We think that there's that type of solution there. So we hope that in Zambia, we will continue exploring this partnership with Kickstart. We operate in a very decentralized manner. So our colleagues in other countries have had some experience with Kickstart already. Here we have the conversations, and we are still looking at what are the mutually beneficial areas of cooperation that we can establish. So I feel really very privileged that we are part of this launch and part of this discussion. And I wish you success, Kickstart. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. That was CARE International Representative, Mr. Chris Sembe, the Deputy Country Director. And now we're going to call on the Partnerships Manager from Vision Fund to come and also give us remarks on behalf. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes.
It is an honor to stand here to speak and represent Vision Fund Zambia and my CEO, Mr. Simon Ziva, and speak about our work together with Kickstart International. My name is Mwenda Kwema, and I am heading Partnerships and Innovations. I'd like to acknowledge the guest of honor, the President, and partners present. To give a brief background of who we are as Vision Fund Zambia, we are a microfinancial institution supporting low-income entrepreneurs with access to financial services. We are a subsidiary of Vision Fund International and World Vision, and our mandate is to impact the lives of children by extending financial inclusion to their families. We offer microloans, micro-savings, and micro-insurance and other financial services to low-income entrepreneurs to break the cycle of poverty by providing services to those that are financially excluded from the traditional financial services, especially those that are in the rural areas. Microloans, as we are all aware, provide working capital to grow small businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to create a sustainable livelihood and have more control over their financial future as they improve their lives and that of their families. We have been in a partnership with Kickstart International for 7 years now, from 2016. And through the partnership, we have been able to support 6,000 smallholder farmers countrywide through the access of asset financing from Vision Fund Zambia, allowing these farmers access the MoneyMaker trader pump through asset financing. The pumps have been able to support the smallholder farmers, especially engaged in horticulture activities, and be able to cope with the impact of climate change. Through the access of these pumps, we have seen ourselves with Kickstart International creating more impact for smallholder farmers, for their businesses have improved, thereby improving their livelihoods and breaking the cycle of poverty. We have a global MOU and a national MOU signed. Therefore, wherever Vision Fund is and Kickstart, we are able to implement and roll out the access of these pumps. We are excited for the new innovation and initiative that Kickstart is launching today, a new starter pump which is more efficient, which will be more cheaper, and therefore which will reach a wider market of smallholder farmers, thereby creating more impact and improving more lives. We look forward, most importantly, we value the relationship and the partnership with Kickstart, and we look forward to a brighter future in our collaboration with Kickstart as we both continue to work together to improve the lives of smallholder farmers in Zambia. With these few remarks, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Wenda. Emma. So we are wrapping up the list of partners now with Komako, and we'd like to invite the grants administrator, Ruth Simwanza, to come forward and also represent her institution and give remarks on behalf of Komako.
So we are largely a wildlife-based organization, initially working with those that poached wildlife for survival. And we also realized that in the areas where we're operating, some of the households depended on wrong farming methods for their survival. So I talked about our partnership with Kickstart starting in 2010, and we looked at how different ways that we could support the farmers that we are working with. And irrigation was one of them. Some of the households did not have areas where there was enough water for them to irrigate their crops. And I think it was 2008, I forget, but there was the period when there was a drought. And that's when our discussion started with Kickstart, and we were looking at ways in which our farmers could irrigate their crops, mainly cassava. That time we had just introduced cassava in the area. And so the Kickstart MoneyMaker pumps were introduced to our farmers. We organized our farmers into what we call producer groups of 10 to 20 members, because we realized if we were going to support the farmers with tractor pumps, that would be a huge investment. So we needed to pilot the project and start with a few farmers and see how it would work. So the slide I will take you to, sorry, I'll skip the number of slides. I hope that is okay. So we started in 2010 as initially indicated, and we bought about 600 tractor pumps, which we distributed to our farmers, largely in Lundazi and Chama area. Chama that time was still under Eastern Province. In 2014, again, we procured another 437 heat pumps, which we piloted in the area. And then you see a gap between 2015 and 2018. At this point, we had organized our farmers into cooperatives, and also realized that some of these farmers were actually making enough money and were able to procure the pumps on their own. So the project was not always going to supply pumps or invest, because we are donor funded, and if it's not on the mandate for the donor to support certain activities, then we cannot include it on our budgets. But we realized that these farmers, through those cooperatives that they organized, were able to go to some of the distributors that we've heard from today, Gromo and Saro, and buy the pumps on their own. In 2018 to 2021, through a project funded by the EU, again in Chama, Lundazi area, we supported over 2,800 farmers. These were supported for their dry season gardening. Others would use that for irrigation of what we call a Lyricidia plant that we're introducing in the field, which is nitrogen fixing. So in these cooperatives, they will maintain those seedlings and do the irrigation at the farmer base before planting the trees in large scale. In 2022, again, we bought another 152 trailer pumps, again, Lundazi and Chama. We are hoping that as we go on with the projects and with the introduction of the Kickstart pumps, we will roll this out in all the other operational areas where we are. Currently, we've moved to Mungwa and Iteji, and we're also working in the Muchinga and northern parts of the country where rainfall patterns have been okay. But with the climate change issues, we do anticipate that we will need to invest more in these trailer pumps. So what I'm showing there is just some illustration of how the pumps have worked for some of our women groups. And I would gladly say, in fact, this is a testimony that it's actually an innovation that we would not have thought about on our own. So with the partnership that we've had with Kickstart, we just want to congratulate the organization for the milestones that you've achieved. And we do hope that this will grow. And with all the partners that are available in this meeting today, we hope that we are doing enough to just testify on what has already been spoken of by Mr. Juma, and that people will adopt these technologies in their work and improve the livelihoods of the different farmers in the country. Thank you so much. I think with those few words, I will just end my presentation there. I will
Thank you very much, Ruth Simwanza. Well, we have heard from the distributors, and we have heard from the partners. There's another group of very important stakeholders that we must hear from to make these testimonies complete. And these are the farmers themselves. We have 3 farmers who have come to tell us their story. We heard about, what was the name of that gentleman in the beginning? James, was it? From Kenya. Now we're going to hear the Zambian stories. We have Paul Zulu, Mary Ngandu, and Mr. Nsabata. So we'll start with Paul Zulu. Azulu. Now you're in Africa. Well, let's give Mr. Paul Zulu a big hand.
Western Province. Nankala mulimi kwa zaka almost 22 years. Kulima kwanga pakugwirizana ndi katundu wamene Kickstart bali nawo. Now become 2016.
So his name is Paul Zulu. He's a farmer from the Eastern Province. He's been farming for almost 20 years. And he started working with Kickstart in 2016.
In 2016, natenga nakula pump byolera mu loan ku Vision Fund. Malumwa chitapunzira ku World Vision. Vision Fund anatipasa kuma loan. Je pump yoyamba inakana mu 2016.
So the first pump that he got in 2016 was out of a loan from Vision Fund. After training, he underwent with World Vision.
Kutoka mu 2016, ulimi wanga unachinja. Kumbuyo kulima kwa bucket mwanga wena wakambako unaliko vuta. Kumantambo senzisa trade pump 2016 uzafika mu 2018. Naona kungala ulimi wanga wa pili.
So before 2016, he used to use buckets in his farming enterprise. But after he got the pump with the loan, everything changed. Now he could farm better and more efficiently.
2018 talandiraso mapunziro ena ya za ulimi mwosenzesa kale pampu kumasoma ulimi ya sopano na kwanisa kulima from 2018 kuzafika pano pamenilili pampu iyi orotezo kamba za wa James, but now muzaona inongala James wa Mzambia.
So he says in 2018 he underwent another training, yes, for bigger and better farming, and from that time to now, his is the story that we will hear, and that is in Zambia. in parallel to the one that we heard from Kenya, of James.
Nalima kuchoka mu 2018 fuka 2020 na kwanza kugula moto kusenza trade pump.
He managed to buy a vehicle out of the profits from his business.
Na kula so shop kuchokera mu trade pump.
He also bought a shop. Oh wow, let's give him a round. Let's give him a hand. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Afanye ni kama mwana wangu anasiza grade 12 last year. And if you compare ku college.
His child has since finished high school, grade 12, and he's looking forward to sponsoring that child to college.
Choka last year mu October nashanga tomato 85,000. Mzo ntawe ya zuwa ntawe yovuta. So kulimi munjira ya kulima kuntawe ya zuwa unakala kwa pafupi na trade pump. Nashanga 5,000 plants. Apa ini kamba kuchoka wiki yamba ya January kusafika mid of February. Nezo panga ndarama 35,000 per week.
So you say you planted 5,000 tomato plants in October, and we all know the difficulty of October with the weather patterns, the dryness and everything. But with the help of the pump that he bought, he is now successfully harvesting and is making at least 35,000 kwacha a week.
And pameni kamba nokondwera kuti pakati pa msonkhano uyu pamene tiona so pump ya nyowani amene pa kickstart vatandizira ife balimi kuti umoyo watu uchoke pametenze lili tiende pasogolo kumaspa ni choka kuno ni watalingaso ma seedings yali 7,000.
So he says he's excited with the new product from Kickstart and is looking forward to upgrading, and he's actually going to make an order for even more seeds of 7,000.
Ngati kukamba maomboni azokula motikozo cheze akoma nama wamenfuna yanimikira kulima bungwe amene muli muno ma distributors amene muli muno anchita amene mukwira kuli ise balimi ametinkala kuminzi tinazovuta zambiri komanso na baboma balipo chamikira kukwako kwanu komanso pitirizani kukwako kutitandizira chifukwa chinkala chapafupi ukatandizanso ibinise mabanje batu olonga kale zintu zina zikankale zovuta wanikamba na kwanso kugula fertilizer 52 packs yolima kubili. So it is ipembo yanga kwa onse amene muli muno pitirizani tandiza alimi andi mapampu amene mwatibweresera ba Kickstart chiyembekezo changa nchoka about stiza kala pamoja na pamoja tienda pasogolo andi sizankalira small scale farm dienda pamwamba mwama wa yawazikombo.
So he concludes by thanking all the distributors and partners and asking them, appealing to them to continue doing what they're doing to help farmers across the country. So that stories like his indeed would be widespread, where people grow from just a peasant or subsistence farmer to greater, who graduate to greater production levels.
So in 3 years, nali kufutika chapukani kunyamula mabaketi pa mutu, kwendo tidira, kusita point kunyamula mabaketi na tubana, sometimes tubana, tulopesa tusukuru, kuti tuende kusukuru, tikambo tidira, so tubana tuzocheva kwa kusukuru. Koma mungu, pempera kwa mungu, wanani pesa wa kachere, kungo la kachere, ramene imi abantu, kuchoka pa pansi, pamene bali kwa polesa kopa fresh. But pamene tonzolima tonzokasiya pekulia noti kupeleka kwa ku market kunalipe kati tonzokwanise tikalimako so kuti tipulize nitumono chapeka tonzolima pamutu so pamene bunga lakachere inani pasaloni yachoka kupyolera mu Kickstart awe pame 3 years nachinja mwanona kwa mamene nidiki apuya dalisa napelako na basi kupela kuno kunetonzoliva yanipeleza kwa kuno na bwera kulima kwa yamba bana banga bonzoende chapena na mavobala kuskulu nikuta bonzoende bati apa nakwanisa kukulira bana ma uniform mabuku winango kupeleka kumakunga skulu na mkulira kwa na njinga apa tinakula kwa tumbuzi tutatu na kula kwa na ng'ombe nika Septemba nizambo mwako na mkaka mpyolera ba Kickstart jamana nashita chikundo muri bakachere mpasa kwa chopa papa nilipeza mbili zopemba nyingo pemba mulungu changa tutize kukudali sani mupitilize msalekele pamene hapa naimwe vapoma msitiyanganirako kuminzi nikutali na machiti kuti tichose kuja kukwera kulodi nikutali mamotoka yadura yokwelesa muvao pamene tikula tifika choipa kwa lodi pamene tilima kuti tikwelese ku market itula motoka tifika choipa kwa mseu siko mupambili
nofu. To start a journey, you have the first step. Narumba. Mwabola, mwatambulwa, noba pati wa hulumeni. Mebo, nimensabata, Renard. Nibe mutonga, kwa number 1 kurufanyama. Utakwe kurufanyama, kuzwa mukitwe, kuyaga rubushi, then kuyaga kurufanyama. Unsi. Musabu gasumbarese. So we are kufanya mu 2 days. But agambuka kupotuba kickstart ya Janigawa. Kurufanya ma ndiri mu chief domu ya chief mkuma mwana muboto. Kurufanya ma ngomu igare ko kuchendika ma emeralds. Akopa kukaja mines. So bulimi bali bulengenga. Ibumi bangu mebo kwesu kumozi. Nagauka mu 1990 as a central ukoba belt. So when tuwa siko kuya mebo bumi bina kundagale beregede. Ujula kundagabete ukoleshi kundabe jagi kacha bagandika ya kuberegera muntu. Baramboro gaberege stumu ya kutoka kuli. So urufanya ma kuri mwangu the whole kumi bangu kulima kwenda kundaberege kundabagala. So kurufanya ma bantu banji bagayiti mara ali mu emarodi amukopa. So nitwa kasiko kuya jorwe kuchita ngabo kugawinya mu 2017 kurufanya ma ninyiga ichimironga wina menda na mana ko my irrigation is ngotubereha wina no tu chita depend down mapuke twalaga through the yonse mwaga wonse bapuka fresh tamani mfwa ali kubo tukamboga ngombe aba kabo tumanini kambo lima so ampa kirezina so ndiri kabo tukuja ndikakufanya machinochi ndarumba manini maga ni kwabe the bo baba kickstart ababa kickstart ndibakabora mu 2017 mu supervise mu under supervision yaba Derek Mwinga mwana muboto. Aba bantu bagatunji hasi cooperatives. Muma cooperatives mbatunji yo bagatunji yakuti kuri batu kombaye de kubora kuswara. Bagatulira abamayini. Iba mayina aba bagalwenda bomba vegetable katu sita supply bimba. Ma cooperatives ama members are tokwetwa kali 120. So individually bagatupa each member household twito papa umwe ino mukwinda muri hema twito papaya twagalima kambo cho beni badunga ba mama awamutwe bamenaga kunyamu yakutaba imenda ino wakabuka batwito pampo pampo zibagatupai akali kuba oba uzo wanchika bana kupapa chika utunjo wanchika bakali kuka kambo katwito papa yatugwa twito pambei chino chindipira mira wa ma cooperatives tuli ma suppliers ukaita mines alimu hichara tutoka kasumaresa chino chindi box ya tomato umwe ku 300 head ya cabbage 115 ya 25 kwa chai 1 head ya cabbage so kuzwa mu ye no tuchita chino chindi tunyina ma street kid ba mbonga mwetanda kuonona mu masukuru trustani na bantu banji alimitwa mwita mu kickstart enjonye yatugwa yakambuka kuti 21 bebo ndakashika kuna tractor daga chiko yabona mukula nganda kuyaga nganda ya 8 bedroom self contained has kuyanze kusamba daga chiko yakutola bana bangu kuchikoro umakole jande dande chino chindipenda mbira oro bakaitiro bali kugade wina uja flipe chino chindipenda mbira wani disinyota ili 4 kamboga kuti nebora kwito pambo yakadiri vision ibo kulindi so oro bateri mwira baliyo ngabachita ngabamba magana ngapi yandika nini kabiri but chizwa muri ndipentekwa mubiri kusukuru mujamu kwa chito so twarumba maniki batridro ba kickstart abazumanane kutugwaya kuba tugwaya kale alimu anyo ndoba uhumende noma yeni chiyozi abutulanga kufanya anyo bahefa abutwetere ngombe kufanya kambo kubulezi kwa ngombe mkwichi maniki twarumba.
That's Mr. Leda in Savata, Wanamowotu. This he was describing everyone. He calls himself the first Tonga to settle in Lufanyama, which he says is a 2-day journey to get there. And it's famous. The main activity is there, or the main activity is mining of emeralds and copper. And so farming is not so popular, it's not so dominant there. He went to agricultural college and he was told not to work for anyone after his training, but himself. And he says there's lots of rivers, there's lots of water in Lufanyama which help activities like gardening. But before he used to use, his wife and his family used to use buckets and other modes of watering, of irrigating their gardens. But from 2017, when Kickstart went to Lufanyama, they were formed into cooperatives and they were tasked to supply vegetables to the mines, and they gave each household a treadle pump, which made the work of watering their gardens a lot easier. And now he's proud to declare that they are official suppliers of vegetables to Kajem. He sells tomato, which goes for about 300 kwacha a box, and also cabbages, which fetch between 15 to 20 kwacha per head. And he says now in Lufanyama there are no street kids because of all these activities, beneficial activities that are going on there. And through his farming, with the help of the trigger pump, he has managed to buy a tractor. He has built a self-contained home, a self-contained house. His kids, he has managed to take them to schools and colleges. And he also has 4 cars. Okay, let's just stop there for a second. I don't have 4 cars. Can I get a tutor pump after this? Maybe my story can change as well. 4 cars, a tractor, and built a house. Oh my goodness, that is progress for sure. And then his last appeal was for quick start, government and NGOs to continue working together for the betterment of the people in Lufanyama and of course across the country.
Good afternoon. I am truly honored to join you today for the official launch of the MoneyMaker Irrigation Starter Fund being promoted by Kickstart International here in Zambia. And let me begin by commending Kickstart International and its network of local partners for introducing this important and practical irrigation technology in Zambia. The irrigation starter pump we are launching today is a very practical example of the private sector's capacity to address the challenges that smallholder farmers have been experiencing today. And I also wish to mention that this great initiative that is being launched today is actually very well aligned with most of the key pillars of Zambia's economic development agenda, and that's why I'm also very happy to be here. If you look at all the key pillars of Zambia's economic development agenda, including the Vision 2030, the 8th National Development Plan, the National Agriculture Policy, as well as CASIP, which was recently launched by the Honorable Minister of Finance. CASIP is a new addition or a new dimension to agriculture development in the country. That is the Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program. And if you look at all these key pillars, you find that agriculture is actually occupying a very important position. And within that CASIP, we have got another very important component, which we are calling development of irrigation. Just last week, the Permanent Secretary was at Radisson Blu to launch the Zambia Drought Management System. This is an online platform which is meant to disseminate information about weather conditions in the country, and it's also able to predict the extent of potential drought in the country. And with the oncoming of the Kickstart initiative on irrigation. I think this is going to add a very significant dimension in terms of enhancing or strengthening climate resilience in agricultural livelihoods, because we have our farmers who are able to predict certain weather conditions. We've been talking about climate change, the drastic effects of climate change, whether it comes in form of dry spells or drought or in terms of floods. If we've got a system that is able to predict such situations, and if we see that we are going to face a drought condition in a particular period of the year, with the oncoming of Kickstart initiative on irrigation, I think is going to play a very significant role in terms of alleviating the problems that we are facing in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, Zambia's irrigation potential is actually estimated to be around 3 million hectares of land. And of this potential, less than 10% is actually currently being used in terms of agriculture sector. So basically what we mean, if you look at Zambia as an entire country, it's about 75 million hectares. And out of that 75 million hectares, 45 million hectares is actual arable land. And out of that 45 million hectares of arable land, we are only using 7 million hectares of arable land. Out of 45 million, we are using only 7 million. And out of that 7 million land, that is only 200,000 hectares, which is under irrigation today. So it means that there's something which is lacking, there's a link which is lacking, and maybe that's the reason why Zambia is facing these issues of food insecurity, because maybe there's something leaking, something which is lacking. And I'm very happy to note that Kickstart International has come on board timely to increase the land that is going to be under irrigation. In the Department of Agriculture right now, I hope some of the officers from our department are here. I don't know if Mr. Songiso is here. We are actually working. Is Mr. Songiso around? Or, yeah, that's one of the officers from our department. We are currently working on what we are calling the Irrigation Master Plan and Strategy. This plan is actually intended to identify all potential areas that will be suitable for irrigation. So once all these areas that are suitable for irrigation are identified, it means we are going to roll out a plan of how we can support our farmers to conduct irrigated agriculture in various areas of the country, which is something that is already happening in the ministry. So with these statistics, we feel that we need to improve, and the private sector should lead this initiative to promote affordable irrigation systems, and this definitely will go a long way in ensuring that Zambia fully exploits its rich irrigation potential. I am delighted that Zambia has become the 5th country to launch this product in the region, and we encourage all stakeholders to promote the use of this and other irrigation technologies amongst our small-scale farmers in the country. As government, I've heard the appeals from most of the farmers who are talking that we need to support our farmers, which is very true actually, and with those fantastic testimonies that we've listened to, I think it's very encouraging and very motivating that government should do something to support our farmers. And I wish to inform you that the government of the Republic of Zambia, through FISIP, has been supporting our farmers. But now, with the oncoming of CASIP, that is a comprehensive agriculture support program, meaning in addition to FISIP, which is just focused on provision of seed and fertilizer, with the comprehensive agriculture support program, there will be other components of support that will be given to the farmers, including access to credit and finance, provision of quality agriculture extension services, support in terms of irrigation, mechanization, as well as crop diversification, so that farmers, after they have been given their inputs, they're not just left on their own. So that once you give them the inputs, you give them the seeds, you give them the fertilizer, there is no monitoring of what is happening afterwards. So we have to see what our farmers are doing, so that's why we're talking of improved agricultural extension services. As this is a relatively low-cost irrigation technology, let me urge more farmers to take keen interest in adopting this technology in their production systems. As a follow-up to today's launch, I wish to appeal to Kickstart and its partners to take the following steps. Number one, the team from Kickstart should consider upscaling the development of other energy-efficient irrigation technologies, such as solar and wind-powered irrigation pumps for use by small-scale farmers. Number two, Kickstart International and its partners should enhance and further roll out after-sales services and maintenance arrangements to other parts of the country. Number three, the organization should ensure linkages of affordable financing arrangements for the equipment to be distributed in Zambia. Number four, the ministry encourages Kickstart and its team of product developers to develop simple but advanced technologies that will cover larger areas and increase land under smallholder irrigation. Number five, we encourage the institution to develop a training plan and strategy that will build capacity in the efficient utilization and maintenance of these irrigation systems by smallholders. By this, I mean, once we start interacting with the farmers, they get our products. It's also very important that through extension services, we should continue to provide services to our farmers. And I'm also glad to mention that as the Department of Agriculture, we have got about 41 farm trade centers across the country, and in addition to that, we have got 10 farm training institutes. Now, these are areas or facilities across the country where you can invite farmers to come in one place at a farmer training center where you can demonstrate physically the things that you are doing in the area. So I want to urge Kickstart management to take that into consideration, that as we do the distribution of these Kickstart pumps, we also don't leave the farmers alone, but let's continue engaging them, and using our facilities dotted across the country, we can make use of the farm training centers to engage our farmers. I would like to call upon the industry to support this product because it has the potential to contribute to the increase in cultivation of off-season commodities and enhance income generation through promotion of OEM production at small-scale level. To the ministry's partners and stakeholders who have joined us for today's launch, let me thank you for being here, as for your presence demonstrates your collective commitment and resolve to promote simple but extremely useful irrigation technologies to our farmers. Let me also state that the ministry wishes to encourage additional collaboration in the development of efficient and effective technologies which simplify production and farming practices, increase income generation and profitability among our farmers, and ultimately also attract citizens to participate in agricultural production. I heard the master of ceremonies saying that, where can I get that pump so that I can also stop my work and go into agriculture? So this is very important because we are trying to encourage people now to go into agriculture. At this juncture, allow me to thank the hosts of this event for inviting the ministry and other stakeholders to witness the official unveiling of this appropriate technology on the Zambian markets. And before I conclude, I would like to thank our cooperating partners and all the other NGOs that are supporting agriculture. We want to thank you most sincerely for the significant contribution that you are making towards the achievement and furtherance of the goals and objectives of the Ministry of Agriculture, of course, to ensure food security and economic transformation through agriculture. We will continue to collaborate with you. Our doors as ministry will be open so that we can see how we can work together to make sure that we achieve our goals and objectives, especially in ensuring food security and economic transformation in the country. So with these few words, it's now my honor and privilege to officially declare the MoneyMaker Irrigation Starter Pump officially launched in Zambia. I thank you and God bless you all.
I just wanted to understand, yes, we are launching the MoneyMaker starter farm, but in Zambia, has it already been in use, or like the way I've heard for Kenya, or we are just launching with the idea of selling the product? Thank you.
So mine is just to ask for your comment on the after-sales support services. Because I think from the comments of the farmers, it looks like your pumps do not have tear and wear, they don't break down. So I didn't hear anything, so I appreciate it if you can comment on that.
I'm Silomesi Melopi. I just have 3 questions which I want to put across. The first one is, during your presentation, I think you were told to say this pump can pump up to a depth of about 7 meters. But when you look at the technology in Zambia, you find that most of the average water can be found at a depth of about 20 to 30 meters. So any plans by Kickstart maybe to make sure that you can introduce new technologies which can pump a bit cheaper, so that you can capture a wider group of farmers also who can utilize the equipment apart from just at 7 meters. Then the other question also which I would want to extend to you is on the issue of like the agency levels at which it is now. For instance, you find that you have only Saro Agri Farmers Ban and so on, but a food for thought one can think to say, since we have these successful farmers, why don't we involve them into this agency arrangement? Because they know who is able to do what, so that they can recruit from there and then be able also to be like guarantors of your business, so that they can explain this particular business, maybe to recommend, so that Saro and other people can issue the equipment based on the recommendations from the successful farmers which you work with. Then the other thing also, when I look at your mission statement, it looks at the issue of making more money and also the issue of poverty alleviation. Then this can only be achieved also if Kickstart maybe can go beyond the issue of supplying trade camps, but also the issue of contract farming, so that maybe the organization can stand in the gap and be able to foment these people to other lucrative markets, so that whatever they produce, they are able to get more money by selling at higher profits and so on, and like the way how it is. Elsewhere, we have seen that yes, we can introduce a technology and so they are productive, but when it comes to marketing, they usually have some challenges. Is there any maybe possibility in future and for Kickstart to think of maybe helping them in that area, so that they can be grouped together and then find a market for them? Thank you.
If this pump is being launched for the first time in Zambia, or it has been there. Yeah, the thing is, this pump is a new innovation by Kickstart. Why is it a new innovation? At Kickstart, we continue to explore opportunities to make irrigation cheaper by farmers. As you all know, majority of the farmers do not have disposable income. So this pump is new. It has been designed, tested, and proved, going by the production or design criteria that was highlighted here, and therefore it is new. Being a new product, we have to launch it, introduce it. We did not want to sneak this product, such a great innovation, we did not want to sneak it into any market, Zambia included. Therefore, we have introduced this product formally in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Kenya, in Mozambique, and today we are introducing it in Zambian market officially, so that partners like you get to know that Kickstart has come up with this new innovation that can help farmers do more irrigation, scale irrigation, and also complement your interventions with these farmers at minimal budget. Therefore, from today, we'll be knocking your doors, so that you can buy it to your farmers, you can acquire it to your farmers going forward. That is as far as that question 1 goes. The second question was asked about after-sales services. I would like to ask my colleague Washington to respond to that question. The question was, what is Kickstart doing regarding after-sales services?
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I think from the presentation, even from the distributors, they indicated that these pumps are very easy to use. There are no spanners needed to operate these pumps. Basically, you use your hands. You don't need any equipment to operate these pumps. So in terms of after-sales service, we work with our distributors, we work with our agro dealers. Any farmer who experiences a problem, they can reach out to our agro dealers, they can reach out to us as Kickstart. Then furthermore, the pumps come with a 1-year warranty. But we've never experienced any return of pumps due to maybe production faults. So any farmer who is as old as maybe even 75 years old, they're able to operate and run these pumps using their basic hands. Thank you.
Yeah, in addition to that, I would say, at Kickstart, we encourage farmers to take farming as a viable, profitable, and sustainable business venture like any other. So towards that, we carry out a lot of many after-sales services, including what he has mentioned. The third question was, which is 3 parts. One was, our technology can only draw water, underground water, up to 7 meters deep. That is true. Yet in Zambia, majority of the places, water goes past 20 meters. How can we respond to this? The third question was on urgency. Why are we not involving other farmers to become distributors? The third was, can Kickstart go beyond? Can Kickstart go beyond selling and envisage contract farming? So number 1, I'll respond to. Number 2, I'll ask also my colleague Washington to respond to as well. Regarding urgency, can he consider other people to come on board? So far we have Farmers Band, Farm Truck, and Saro. Then the third one, I would want to ask my president here, Peter Juma, to respond to. Can Kickstart go beyond? Other than selling pumps, can we go beyond? Can we envisage contract farming? So responding to number 1, you are asking, our technology can only go up to 7 meters deep. That is true. And again, this technology is also using surface water as well. And there are so many surface waters available in Africa, Zambia included. There's a lot of rivers, a lot of what you call the dams. Underground water is there, but up to 5 meters, yes, you can still get them. But I want to say this, at Kickstart, our technology, what we have designed and developed, which we are promoting, can only go up to 7 meters deep. We continue to explore, our designers continue to explore, and if they succeed, we'll still be able to come back to you and launch such. In the meantime, this is what we have at the moment. So, the second part of the question, which was, can Kickstart consider other agencies like farmers? So Washington, please, if you could respond to that. Are you open to respond, accepting more? And the third one, Peter will respond to, can Kickstart go beyond selling and envisage contract farming?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we work with several agents, and some of them are farmers. We find, go to Mumbwa, we've got someone who is on the ground, who is reaching out to several cooperatives and training them on how to use the technology. Go to Eastern Province to find them, we've got agents on the ground. And like Vision Fund explained, we have been working with them mobilizing farmers in various districts, whereby you find we've got agents whom we also pay some commission if they are able to bring farmers together. So those agents are linked to the distributors, they get the product, they supply those farmers. We have also worked with organizations like IETE, they are farmer field business advisors. They also move around with robotic technology. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Okay. Thanks so much for those good questions. Before I respond to that question on contract farming, let me just allay any fears by adding some meat on some of the questions. So yes, we are launching the starter pump here today for a very good reason. As Tom has said, we didn't want to sneak a product. That's what would normally happen when you are driven by commercial interests. You want to sneak in a product, make a kill before people notice it is problem, you've made your kill and you have disappeared. We don't do that. We are a non-profit social enterprise. We are supported by donors. Some of them could be actually represented here. We have a social commitment, the farmers that we serve. So as I did say, we have a very stringent design criteria. All our pumps are tested by farmers in Kenya. As we are speaking today, we have over 400 solar pumps which are being field tested by farmers in Kenya. And we've been working on these solar pumps since 2005. So it just tells you the keenness we put into developing a new product. So by the time we are launching a product, the farmers have tested it and they have approved it. So this is our 5th launch. Last week we were in Mozambique. 2 weeks ago we were doing this launch in Kenya. Kenya, about 4,000 of these pumps have already been sold. We did a soft launch during COVID. We couldn't do a physical launch like this. We introduced the pumps in Kenya. In September, we were in Rwanda. We did this launch, featured by the Ministry of Agriculture. We have pumps which are being used there. And in October, we were in Uganda doing the same. And next week, we'll be in Malawi. So the pumps, don't be afraid. The pumps are well. They are working very well. They've been tested by the farmer, and they've made all our criteria for the site. On the after sales, we have, of course, we work with distributors, we work with agro dealers. They have teams. As Washington said, we have a very well-defined channel on how to troubleshoot issues. All our distributors, they stock spare parts. And I know for many products, that's the biggest problem. So you have a product, but there is no way how farmers can acquire the spare parts. So these pumps come with very few spare parts, but our distributors stock them. So every time the distributors place an order for a container of pumps, they also buy extra spares. And as you will see when you go out there, and as you can see this pump, this is how the pump comes packed from China in a container. As you can see, it has, these are extra spares. So each of the things you are seeing here, typed here, this white paper is the quick start guide. Now, these are rubber valves. So all these things are inside here. So these are extra spares. So when the farmer buys this pump, they will untie this and keep this somewhere in a drawer and start using the pump. When they start wearing out, these are the only spares. So it doesn't have so many parts. When they start wearing out, the farmer will have an opportunity to replace whatever part has worn out using this. These are extra parts. Now, we are talking about, it can take about 12 months, depending on the frequency of how the pump is being used. So the next time the farmer will actually spend money to replace a part on this pump could be something about 18 months. That's the first time they spend money to buy one of these pumps. Because if they are already here, when they were out, they remove the one out, they replace it with this one, and then when that one is worn out, now that's the time they now go to the shop and buy. Now the distributors and the agro dealers, they have those stocked. Now, coming to the question of contract farming, as I did say, we encourage partnerships. And to be very honest, we are about to clock, maybe by the end of this year, we would have sold 400,000 of these farms. And that is in Africa alone. These farms have been sold to Haiti. They were used during the last earthquake that happened in Haiti. They are part of the rebuilding process. We sold this farm, they've gone to places like Cambodia. But our main focus is on sub-Saharan Africa. We will not have achieved this number without partners. Why? Because the problem we are trying to address, the problem of food insecurity, the problem of hunger, the problem of malnutrition among kids, is a big problem. It's a big problem that none of us here can pretend they can address it themselves. So we have to combine forces. We have to bring partners together. We have to leverage on the expertise that other partners have. My good friend from Haifa International here, had a meeting with him, very good meeting in September last year when I was here, talking about this project he talked about in East Africa. Now there is so much that Haifa did for that project to be successful. Our friend from Bromo, they talked about the UP, the Zambia Challenge Fund. We are partnering with them to ensure that that project is executed. So, I'll just give you one example. In Zambia, some years back, we partnered with Manza Chile. Now, Manza Chile does contract farming for Chile. Now, they are already doing it. There's nothing else Kickstart can do. There's nothing else. The only thing that Kickstart will come is to provide the technology, to provide training, and all that. But we don't want to go and disrupt the good work that Manza Chile is already doing with the farmers. And that's what happens in all the countries that we work. The very reason why you guys are here explains the power of partnerships. And so there are some things that, yes, they are very good, they might look attractive, but it's also good for you to focus. Yeah, when you focus, you become more effective. And that's our focus is to deepen the knowledge about irrigation, provide irrigation solutions. So beyond the physical technology, we also provide other irrigation solutions. We connect farmers, we connect partners with microfinance institutions. Our friends from Vision Fund have very well explained that. We connect farmers to commercial players, the distributors and agro dealers for chemicals and the right seeds, the right fertilizers. We have internal agronomists who work with our commercial partners to identify what are the right chemicals for which type of crop. We provide agripreneurship training. This is where we are training farmers to take on farming as a business, not to take farming as a subsistence. So we train them on what crops to grow well. When your neighbors are waiting for the rainfall to grow tomatoes, you chill, you wait, and you grow something else that will not be in the market. We train them on how to do very simple bookkeeping, because we want them to take this farming as a business. So we are very passionate about partnerships. We would love to do all these things, but we also know that we cannot stretch ourselves so much. On the issue of how deep the pumps can go, I think that question was also asked. It was answered. Cool. Thank you so much.